While the Iron's Hot invokes the old map-crawling adventures of yore, is it the second coming of Zelda with new twists? Is it a deep and insightful adventure story that will keep you engaged and enthralled? Or is it a too simple, shallow, and endless series of minigames that will bore you to tears in spite of befriending your ox? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. I don't mind pixel art games, as you probably have figured out from my reviews of things like Vampire Survivors and Loop Hero. When I saw While the Iron's Hot by Bontemps Games, I thought, ooh, building a smithy and doing cool blacksmith things in an adventure RPG format? This should be cool. So I spent just over 3 hours figuring that out. Whether or not it's cool, that is. The premise is decidedly simple, but also kitschy and cute. You are a young, fresh-off-the-boat blacksmith looking to forge your reputation and hone your skills. See what I did there? There's actually a lot of puns because, well, the opening of the game involves you getting onto and then off of a boat. Haha. You immediately are brought to a decrepit small town which, in somewhat of a cliché fashion, has lost its mojo and all of its blacksmiths. And so you are the one who will have to rebuild things from the ground up to restore its former glory. I suppose it's a bit of a hero's journey story in that regard, but you're not particularly reluctant. In fact, you're pretty much eager to please just about everyone out there, and that's kind of where things start to fall apart. Your little town serves as your home base, and you have the ability to upgrade it over time as you discover new crafting recipes for things and stuff. Because crafting things and stuff is the main focus of the game, and is also where my earlier intro comment about an endless series of minigames comes in. I didn't play the game for an exceptionally long period of time, so I'm not sure what other minigames related to crafting might appear, but the key ones are forging ore into ingots, hammering those ingots into various types of plates, potentially sharpening them, and then assembling all of the components at the crafting table. As you travel throughout the lands, you discover different crafting recipes which allow you to make more stuff. Usually you're making stuff for folks based on the various job boards that you discover in the various towns that you may end up visiting. Occasionally, you're crafting something to advance a key plot point, like the eternal chandelier that you encounter early in the game. Sometimes you are independently crafting things so that you can gather supplies to upgrade your home base, or your traveling ox cart base, or to do other things of that nature. But generally, it's just a lot of the same crafting minigames over and over again. The crafting minigames are downright repetitive and mind-numbingly boring. Now, if you're a casual gamer and are into those animal raising and farming simulators, you might be able to stomach it. But the reality for me was that after a couple of hours of clicking the hammer button when it got over the right mark, I was bored to tears. I was staring at the prospect of doing this many, many more times, and it was not looking fun. Combine this with the fact that each step in the crafting process involves an annoying minigame, and, well, it looks bleak. The crafting recipes are simple enough, but I didn't find a way to pin a recipe to the screen, so I was constantly reopening the recipe menu and then would have to scroll down to remind myself of the recipe I wanted. It was a little clunky and somewhat frustrating. Even though you can stack recipe components to make lots of particular items, it still seemed like I would be doing the same repetitive repeating of crafting minigames dozens, if not hundreds of times. The storyline seemed to be evolving to include many sub-stories and quests, but honestly, the entire game simply felt like one annoying grocery run after another. All of the missions to craft things were essentially glorified grocery runs in that, hey, Johnny wants an axe, so you go make one and then bring it back to Johnny. But you can only get so many jobs, so you end up repeating this loop of getting a job, doing minigames to craft, deliver items over and over. Did I mention it was kind of repetitive? Because it's repetitive. Again. Oh, wait, a new town with the new key character that will help us advance the plot. If only we can craft something for them with some materials that we just have to go over there to gather to do so. Ugh. But don't worry, some rando just appeared who asked us to make some other thing, which we will offer to do without hesitation, because we're just so damned nice. Once you break out of the restrictive early storyline of the one village next to you, the exploration and Zelda-like aspects of the game start to open up. You explore the map, encounter other travelers and situations, and, well, some of it is interesting, but a fair bit of the dungeon spelunking is solving relatively easy puzzles and doing frustrating inventory management. Climbing ladders, pushing boxes, placing items in specific receptacles and orders. You have seen all of these tropes before. They're executed well, but you know that you're just going to have to do some more crafting once it's all said and done. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. Once you get past the endless, repetitive, clunky, and frustrating sea of minigames, you can see some interesting things to like about While the Iron's Hot. It evokes the charm of many of the adventure games of my youth. The music is nice and the pixel art is cute enough. The characters are likable, and hey, who doesn't love a romance story about the ox that pulls your cart around? Maybe I was just on the verge of finding a whole new set of minigames and game mechanics to enjoy. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I just couldn't get past the endless and repetitive repeating of the minigame repetition, so I decided that the dinner bell was ringing, and I put down my hammer and tong and picked up some chopsticks instead. Things were just okay here in the forge, but they weren't all that great. Meh.